Hey, welcome to another edition of the Independent Creator Podcast. I'm your humble host, and tonight we're actually going to talk about Owncast, the community initiative that just started today, and a little bit about the Fediverse. Some stuff here and there. We'll talk about that. So join us, will you? So, one thing that we want to talk about is pretty much is on everybody's mind is Owncast. Owncast is really, a great place to be if you really think about it, because not only is it open source, it's free. All you gotta do is pay for the hardware that to host it on, or a server or whatever, and it's pretty much it's a drop and go kind of piece of kit. There's not really much to it except for live streaming and a chat. And if you're watching on our own cast server, welcome. And it's a great place to actually, take control of your actual live streaming, your actual content. It's just one hub, really, because if you've been watching or been listening to the show, watching whatever, or reading the blog post, you know that I'm a big proponent of actually owning your own content. What I mean by that is making a website, setting it up so you can post stuff to your website, any kind of articles, blog posts, writings, whatever, video submissions, whatever you want, and then taking that and sharing it out to the other central or the other social networks, like Mastodon, or if you're still on it, X Twitter, if you're on Threads or Blue Sky, you just share out from your actual website. Sorry, I just had a cat up here not too long ago, so still has some cat hair floating about. She wanted to have some attention, but that's my big thing. Is one aspect of actually owning your content is live streaming. Now, most of us know about live streaming through either Twitch, YouTube, LiveSpace, Facebook Gaming. Uh, that's pretty much it at the moment. Hopefully soon we have SharePlay coming in. But one aspect to actually own your content is to have a live streaming place all your own that you fully control, and that is Owncast. Now, Owncast has been around for a while. We've talked about this a couple episodes ago, where I showed you how to set up your own Owncast server on Hetzner, which is a web hosting company. It's another one. You don't have to use Hetzner. You can use, there's Linode or DigitalOcean. There's many different places out there that you can utilize in order to set up your own particular Owncast server. Now, one other thing I have to say is that Owncast, like I said, it's free. All you have to do is really have the infrastructure. If you have your own hardware set up, that is where you can host your own server, or again use a web hosting company like Hetzner or Linode. So it's something that you can think about, and it's really it's I'll have to say it is very good in that it is not too expensive. You can run an Owncast server on like a $5 node. It may not run well, but you might want to beef up the CPU or move up to a more powerful CPU, because it does take some CPU usage on your server. But sorry, what it is that it requires some hardware that you have to think about. Now, one thing I want to talk about actually is there is a community initiative that's actually just started today to bring about more people into the Owncast fold or the Owncast community. Most notably, people that can do like theming or customization. Because what I've been noticing, or yeah, pretty much what I've been noticing is that when somebody starts up an Owncast server, most of the time is that they leave it on the default theme. If you're watching our streams, you'll notice that our theme is not the default. That's because I found it's all built in CSS. So if you are very fluent in CSS and you have the capability, I would suggest actually trying your hand at making a theme for Owncast. So let me show you this one here. This one is actually from Tainted Cipher. It's called it's like a Twitchy. It's called Twitchy, and it's an Owncast theme. It kind of gives your Owncast server a Twitch-like appearance. I know some people might not like, the Twitch-ified look, but it's something different than just a default look. So, of course, I have it here on our side here. It gives all the purple, and then in the chat we'll have like the alternating names that are the different colors. But this one, it's well, I should say this is what I'm using. This is all very customizable. So if you do know CSS and you take this one, you can actually play around with it. And I'll show you here how easy it is to actually change your appearance. Because I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand or actually look for the appearance tab, which is a shame because you can, if you have the capability or even just changing the colors a little bit, a lot of people don't go into it. They just kind of like set it and forget it and just run as a default theme. So I'm going to go into my Owncast admin here. Go into general. And what you want to do is once you're logged into your admin side, go into configuration and general, and you'll see these three tabs up here. The general is just where you can give your name, your URL, about, logo, and stuff like that, and tags. But right here, the appearance tab, if you go here, right off the bat, you can set up different colors. Like you can have a background color. You can change all this stuff and make it your own, no matter how many times you want to style this. You can always just go back and just change it to, the default. But you can also change like action hover, which means hovering over links, button, borders, primary text, chat background, chat font, the text itself. If it's if it's light mode or dark mode, the header and footer, page content, you get the idea. It's now, excuse me. Down here is the CSS. This is the meat and potatoes, as it were. Is that if you're like Keep Harpin, if you're comfortable and you know your way around CSS, give this a go. Me personally, I don't have experience in CSS. Sorry, I had to sneeze there for a second. I don't have any experience in CSS, but from what I've heard and been seeing around is that once you get to actually understand what each section is, it's actually pretty easy to get a grasp of it. So I'm going to probably make it my mission to try to set up or customize a CSS and see how it goes and make a different theme that I'll put up on thisindiecreator.com as a free resource. But with this one, if you go to, I'll have this in the video description on YouTube, but this one is, if you find it on GitHub, there's a couple links out there as well that it already has a CSS. All you gotta do is copy it and paste it into the CSS call or the section here and just hit save. And then you're pretty much good to go. And you'll have a Twitch-like Owncast server. So that makes things a lot easier. Now you don't have to do the CSS. Again, like I said, you can just change the colors to something completely different because it's fully customizable. It was back in the version 0.1.0, that big update is when you will be able to change the colors in the GUI into the actual admin side. You could have done it beforehand, but you would have to have some HTML knowledge. It wasn't really easy to get to or change, but the people who make or who work on Owncast really have done themselves a great service in setting this up for everybody. And again, like I said, not that many people, I don't believe, go into the appearance tab, and which is a shame because it's a great feature that you can use. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's all open source. So I hope, just to get this information out, I hope a lot of people actually, take the chance. And again, if you don't like what you set up, just hit this reset the defaults and it automatically change everything back to the default. And then you can try something else. See if that works. And a great resource is actually look online for a color wheel. What I mean by that is it's a color wheel that helps you set up like complementary colors. So you can say if you do like a purple, what's the complementary color to purple? And it's several different options that you can use to help keep your color matching a little bit more streamlined and not go so crazy. You don't want to. I mean, if you really want to go this route, you can go with like the ketchup and mustard look. It's old school McDonald's, but it's kind of you do you. But yeah, I really haven't seen anyone don't do like crazy colors. I mean, it's possible if you really wanted to do that, you can do it. But you can match or have complementary colors or with color wheels that are kind of like a gradient from one to another, so you have a lot of options here. Now, one other thing I want to look at is or show you is that a community initiative, I briefly mentioned this at the beginning, is that we want to bring a more community focus or look, or I should say, bring about more eyes into the actual community that surrounds Owncast. Because right now, people says get the information or get the their server, the software installed, and then they're off on their own tangent and doing whatever, which is great because hey, they're using Owncast software, and that's what it was built for, is to control your own content. But we want to also include the people who want to have a little bit more voice and to say, hey, I actually know how to do CSS theming, and let me try to work up something real quick and share it out to the community. Now, if you don't know that there is a Rocket Chat chat room that you can go to, it's not just for support. It's also for community getting together and talking about amongst each other or with, other Owncast owners or server runners, admins, whatever you want to call them. The best way to get to it is, go to the owncast.online website. And there is a link right up here. It's the Rocket Chat icon here in the upper right. It looks like a little spaceship with 3 dots. So if you go into that, of course, you got create an account and log in. And this has been started. Gabe created the channel, so we can go into here, and it's a great thing. And we just started. Of course, I'm in here as well, but it's trying to get things together to start up a there's someone that's going to start up a newsletter, a monthly newsletter talking about the different projects, or we do like a content creator of the month type of showcase or theme builder showcase, whatever. This is just the beginning of this great initiative. I think that it could work out really well. Now, what you can do is to join it by going into the Owncast Rocket Chat, creating an account, and just start talking, because you also have just the general channel here as well. And most of the time, it's just filled up with people looking for support. It's not really talking with Gabe in chat here. They were saying that it wasn't really meant to be like a support, but it was. It just became that way. It's just de facto of looking for support and a quick way to get support. Say, hey, something on my Owncast server is not working, or this is broken or busted. And but most of the time, it could be just a small thing. But if it's a bigger problem or an actual bug or issue, um, then you'll be directed over to the GitHub page and then put in an issue request there, so that people who are actually working on the project can go through and try to figure it out for the next release cycle and get that fixed. But going in here and seeing this community channel is a great thing. Not only is it a great place for others, to let's see, so I don't butcher the exact wording, but is as MXKS says here, is we're starting a new Owncast community channel that's dedicated to discussing our streaming work, finding ways to help promote ourselves and each other, and in general grow a social ecosystem around Owncast. So it's just, please feel free to join if that's of an interest to you. And it'd be great to see more people come into the Rocket Chat and just, start chatting with let's get this community going, because there is a community, but again, it's just mostly people coming in for support. So would really like to see more people come in just for a community building aspect, and would definitely love to see that start taking off. I know it's just brand new, so it's going to take some time. But the thing is, for people like myself, letting you know about these particular initiatives to bring more awareness to it. Not only do I have our own site, thisindiecreator.com, that helps, talk about alternative platforms, which Owncast is, but we also talk about all different initiatives. Like for Gilded, there's Owncast, we got Livespace, we got SharePlay coming up. So there's many different things that I would like to see start, building up community-wise for passionate people who are looking for this kind of community building or community aspect of these alternative platforms. And it takes more than one person to do it. It takes one person to get the ball rolling, but it's like a snowball effect. I know it really doesn't work this way, but just go with the example. You take a snowball and then toss it down a hill. As it's rolling down, it picks up more snow and it starts becoming larger and larger. That's pretty much what we're looking for, is to say, hey, if you like Owncast and you want to see more streamers or more content creators actively using the software, great. Us too. Me as well. But what we got to do is get together as a community, go into the Rocket Chat, or sign up. If we do like if there's a newsletter that starts up, sign up for that. And just, start getting involved, start sharing the information that, hey, Rocket Chat, Owncast is here. It's available for you if you're looking for an alternative, and you actually want to start, creating or self-hosting yourself. There's people out there that are more than willing to help you. I know I had an issue when I was moving my to a different hosting, and it was just say, oh yeah, all you gotta do is move or copy over this particular file structure. Well, I tried to do that, but unfortunately it wasn't working out too well for me. So thankfully I had someone walk me through or go through the different troubleshooting processes. And it just eventually came out to a point where it's like, it looks like what it's supposed to be, but it didn't quite work out. So I was kind of like, well, I lost the followers. I only had like 13. It was just starting out. So I was kind of like, oh, well, I'll just start over from scratch, because, I'm not going to really keep going with this. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, you have helpful people in the community that are willing to take the time and show you and help, you understand, okay, well, this might be the problem. Let's go through the steps to figure out exactly what's going on, which is a great thing, because if if I was left to my own devices, I would have to be spending some time learning Docker containers and working on different things like that. It would take me a lot longer. I don't have I don't have the qualms to say, hey, I don't want to learn about Docker and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where the helpful people are there, and I would like to see more of a community starting, and that's why I like to. That's why I'm trying to help out as well, is getting more eyes on the Rocket Chat. So if I go, let's go back here and just for one more time and say, hey, if you want to join the Rocket Chat and Owncast, open up or join in with the channel, the Owncast community channel. It's not in general; it's a separate one there, and this is where we can start talking about different things of like again, the streamer showcase, streamer of the month, or the theme of the month, whatever. If also you get some ideas, maybe join in and post up. It's like, hey, I got this great thing I have an idea for, and type, push it out there, and you know what? It become possible. Who knows? It won't become possible if you don't do it. It's like Michael Scott says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I know I probably messed that up, but it's close enough. But Owncast is actually a really great piece of kit. It's a great software. And again, I have other videos on where I ran through and installing Owncast through the one-click install on Hetzner. You can also do that on Linode, and there's some other places that have one-click installs, or even here on Owncast, you can just take it's like a line of code on your server, paste it in, hit enter, and then just go through the install process. It's like less than 10 minutes. You'll have a Owncast server up and running, and just hit go live or connect your OBS or XSplit or Ecamm or whatever you use, and off you go. It's thinking about it. It seems to like a I don't want to say like a normal person, but for someone who's not well adapted to server architecture or adminning their own server or running anything like that, it seems kind of daunting at first. But it's just that one line, and it's just entering in, the domain name and the email for the SSL or the Let's Encrypt, and pretty much that is really all there is to it. It runs itself in the background, and especially if you have it underneath a Docker container on Hetzner, it automatically updates itself because it does the latest version, in the Docker, because that's what it's set up for. So you really don't have to worry about updating if you go that route. It does it automatically by itself. Yeah, you might want to like learn a little bit of how your server runs and ways to fix it, or look for ways to fix it if something does come up. It's just something that's nice to have. It's just, not set it and forget it, really, because you can get in a little bit of trouble if you all of a sudden your server blows up and you're left standing there holding a shard remains, and you're like, well, crap, what do I do? So at least try how to teach yourself, give yourself a little bit of knowledge of how to go through and set up like another server just to test around and mess around with, and use that as your sacrificial server. So go ahead and blow that one up. So at least you know what not to do, right? So as you can tell, I'm really big because that's what I do on this channel, and my initiative with Indie Creator Hub and this Indie Creator is looking at and experimenting with alternative platforms, and that's what I've been doing for years now, is looking at these different places and ways to do your content creation as an independent creator, just looking away from like the likes of Twitch or YouTube or anything like that, especially YouTube nowadays, because if you don't know, or if you've been living underneath a rock, or you just kind of like, I don't care about YouTube, I don't care about any news, they're going through and they've started a while ago a cold war with ad blockers, What that means is that usually some people would have installed like uBlock Origin on their web browsers, which means that any ads or anything like that will not show up on YouTube. So as they're watching a video, it continuously plays. You don't have to worry about the pre-rolls, mid-rolls, and even the post-roll ads. So it's kind of nice to go through. But I can see how that would affect a certain subset of creators that make their income through ad revenue on YouTube. It's unfortunate that they're only looking at one particular avenue on that instead of kind of branching out, the don't place your eggs all in one basket kind of deal. But a lot of YouTube creators have gone that route and said, "Hey, ad blockers hurt me." Like, well, you can do other avenues, but I can see your point. And YouTube has decided, well, we're going to block all ad blockers, and then they'll block the blockers, and then they'll go through, and the blockers will come through with something else, and then YouTube, it's just a general arms race back and forth. So what is actually they're doing now, and it's been confirmed, YouTube has stated that if they're not slowing or minimizing the user experience on YouTube on certain browsers, because that's what it was thought of, that, oh, if you're using Firefox, then you're getting your experience of YouTube is getting held back. No, I decided to say, well, it's because you're using an ad blocker, and we're actively slowing down the load times of your videos that you want to watch. Which, in my mind, I can see it. I know I can see that as a devil's advocate that yes, that's how they make their money. They don't want people messing with their money, but there are other ways to go about this. And I'm not a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? And the ramifications and all the logistics of having to do that. But to generally cause your users who are using your software or your platform have a lesser experience because they just so happen to have an ad blocker installed, even though the FBI in the US has mentioned or has created a PSA to tell people to have an ad blocker installed on their browsers in order to keep themselves safe from malicious ads that have included malicious code to keep their computers safe. And here's YouTube coming around saying, no, don't have that. And if you do have that, we're going to make sure that your user experience is piss poor, and it's your fault for doing this. And it's also against TOS. And it's, I don't know what YouTube is thinking there, but obviously they're thinking about money, which, yeah, money does make the world go round. But that's why also I like to say or direct people to like a PeerTube, which is an alternative to YouTube. And of course, I'm lucky enough to have been added into Tilvid's PeerTube's instance. So a lot of my videos, I think I'm caught up. I'm going to start adding these podcast episodes into Tilvid's as well. But long story short is that I really love alternative platforms. Owncast, PeerTube, Mastodon. I've been even looking at like Castopod, even Funk Whale for podcast hosting. For now, I'm keeping everything on Captivate, and I think there for a second. That's where I have all my podcast episodes hosted. Because not only do I do this podcast, the Independent Creator podcast, I also do 0 Point Report. And eventually I might start back the Familiar Plots podcast, but that's for a later day. That's for next year. But essentially coming back around to the alternative platforms, like for Owncast, and Mastodon is great too, because if you go into Mastodon, let's make sure I don't have anything here. I'm good to go. Especially with Owncast, it's if you set up your Owncast to automatically post when you go live, you get this right here. If you're listening, it's an actual post in my feed of saying whatever I posted in, excuse me, of whatever I posted in my social section in my Owncast admin side of things. I'll show you how to do that in just 1 second. But I'll automatically post like a minute or two after you go live. And then what you could do is, if you, it's a good idea to follow yourself. So you have that feed, and just go ahead and hit this button, the retweet or the repost of that particular post to your followers on your main Mastodon channel. So there's a lot of things that you can do between Owncast and the Mastodon or the wide Fediverse as yourself. Now, if you go into social, if you go back into your admin side of things on your Owncast server, go to configuration and then go to social. This, I've talked about this before in a previous video, this is where you can put in your now live messaging. You can change this, or you can leave a blank for just the basic. If you leave a blank, it's going to disable it. It's not going to post it out. I would suggest to do this every single time you go live. Not only is it a good way to get in the habit of changing this out, but also is like kind of like a self-promotion. So if you go to post, if you put something in here, and like I showed you, you can repost what was posted on your feed to your followers. And it's kind of like, hey, I'm live now. And I know back in the day, it was a lot of live streamer Twitter. The advice at the time, and I think it's also still true to this day, is that if you just have your feed is just going live posts and there's no kind of other content to fill out your Mastodon account, a lot of people kind of put your postings on ignore, because no one really wants to see a consistent or constant going live posts in their feeds, especially from the same person over and over and over again. It's just not how Mastodon works, and the Fediverse doesn't work this way. There's no algorithm. I don't know if you noticed that. There is no algorithm. If you're just new to Mastodon and the activity pub protocol, there's no algorithm. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, that you actually have to work in curating your own feed. Now, I know some people will guffaw at that and say, "Oh, I can't believe you'll make me do work and actually follow people I want to be interested in. You can't just suggest stuff to me." No, we're not here to hold your hand, buddy. You are your own person. You're a big kid now. Get out there in the world, buckaroo. But it's just, you gotta change your way of thinking. And a lot of people, when the first Twitter migration came through back last year, was it a couple days ago last year, when of course Elon Musk first took over Twitter, that huge wave that came in, and people were kind of confused. It was like, what do I do around here? What is this? How a toot? How do I toot? I don't know what this means. And I think a lot of the people that came through that first wave, or the first, second, third, or fourth wave at that time, kind of got, I don't want to say jaded, but they're kind of overwhelmed, and they gave up on Mastodon. They said, "Oh, this is too hard. I can't do this," and went back to Twitter. Now, I'm not saying what they did is wrong or right. That's just their comfort level. If they're comfortable with a particular way of how things were done, especially for over a decade, that's centralized social networking is what most of the people grew up on. That's all they really knew. Old farts like myself and a lot of other people that grew up back in pre AOL days, and how it was really decentralized. That's what the internet was. We kind of saw this as like, oh, I can remember this. This is like the old days. Pepperidge Farm remembers. And we kind of oh, this is no biggie. change our way of thinking real quick, even though got used to how the centralized way of thinking became to be. And we kind of like, oh yeah, decentralized is better. This is great. This is a breath of fresh air, really. So I hope a lot more people, kind of, take that leap, or take that first step back into decentralized software and infrastructure, like Owncast, like Mastodon or PeerTube or Castopod. It's just one of those things where it's like, I hope that more and more people realize that, yes, you do have to learn a little bit more whatever, the infrastructure. And there was a different word I was trying to think of, but I couldn't get my brain and mouth to work the right way. But to bring out a new generation of up and coming independent creators or live streamers to use these services to help spread the awareness of these services and software. Now, Owncast is not set up and does not want to be a Twitch replacement. That's completely antithetical of what Owncast really is, really. It's there to be a place that you build on your own website, your own server, to be your own. And you can share the link out to everywhere else. It's not a hub of live streams. If you want a hub, Owncast really does have that. It's the directory. And if you go here, let me refresh here. There is a directory. If you're looking for people to watch that they do have an Owncast server and they have set it up to be public and to have added into the directory, this is a great place. It's directory.owncast.online. And it has all the servers that are live right now. Yes, and there's a lot of 24/7s. There's some great ones. Like there's the Fediverse Radio. Yep, this one, Radio Free Fedi. It was a game, internet game station, the Bat Station Internet Radio. I think that's the one. There's also another one that was like game music, which was pretty cool. You got the chicken feed. Oh no, these are bees. It'd be nice to have like the chicken feed. I saw that on Glimish, and I think they're on Livespace. There's also Kitten Cam. It's like a 24-hour cat cam. There's a great things for those 24/7 channels that to come in and do that. I was like, oh, I know this guy in the basement. Yeah, that too. But excuse me. If you were looking for something that a discovery, there's no algorithm here. This is random. This channel will be here for so many minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. Then another channel will be taking its place. Or even if you refresh, okay, yeah, it's still, but I think it's when you refresh, another one joins or takes the top spot there, or as the featured, in air quotes, the featured spot. So there is a lot of servers that you can look through and say, oh, Hatnix Plays. It's a Linux gaming channel. So this guy, he plays Linux games. So yeah, for some, I think that they couldn't handle not seeing that they had 100,000 followers on Mastodon or other. Yeah, that's another thing, is that people were so enamored with, I have to have so many followers. I need to have all these followers. Oh, St. Clinton, that's you. Welcome. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people, again, they were used to the algorithm feeding or sending their information out there to their followers and to other people's For You pages. And that doesn't happen on Mastodon or any of these alternative platforms. It doesn't happen on like Blue Sky. It doesn't happen on Spoutable. It doesn't happen. Well, I won't say that on Threads. There is kind of like some sort of algorithm, but it's rudimentary at best. It's Threads is like a old Twitter, where Blue Sky is the same way, but there's no algorithm. It's based on whoever you follow and the feeds that you want to follow there as well. Mastodon, I think, is it, I know it is the same way. There's no algorithm. Whoever you follow or whoever that your whatever feed or hashtag is that you're following. So there is that. Excuse me. Sorry. It's Chick-fil-A. So yeah, it's a lot of people would have to come through and change the way of their thinking, their mentality of how they do their social postings. And I think, especially with the continuing landfill fire that is Twitter, or I should say X Twitter, is that I can see more and more people coming over. I know I said that in the past, and it's true. More and more people. It's just it's slow waves coming over and over. And who's to say is that with these alternatives, we do have a lot more choices. We have Blue Sky Spoutable, Mastodon. We have Threads, and whatever comes up afterwards. It's just, I think at a point in time, especially, I know that at a point in time we'll have too many choices. We've seen it already where T2, or otherwise known as Pebble, closed up shop. It's just kind of, I think we had reached a point where it was too many places at one time that really didn't kind of like say, hey, our social network is different in this way from everybody else. It was more like our social network is similar and you should come towards us. And it's kind of like, what do you give us that is a little bit different? Well, you can post a post. Yay. I can do that everywhere else too. So I think what's going to happen is that a lot of people are going to start gravitate to wherever they feel more comfortable with. And come to say is that X Twitter is not going to be that place for a majority of users. And I know on Threads, I'm constantly having to mute or block so many people, some of these these bot accounts. I'm like, I don't care about you. I don't care about block or mute. Especially the thirst traps too. It's like I don't want this in my feed. If I want to do that, I'll go into a different feed. But it's kind of like having when I'm scrolling, I'll sit there and I'll have to go through and mute like 3, 4, 5 in a row. It's like, why are you constantly sending me? And I'm sure I've seen the same person's picture multiple times in my feed, especially on Threads. And it's like, I've blocked this person before. I muted this account. Why am I getting this? It's because it's a bot. This is posting the same picture under a new account because they've probably been blocked so many times and they just open up a new one. So I don't see that really. That hasn't happened to me on Mastodon because I can choose who I follow. And it doesn't really happen to me on Blue Sky because I choose who I follow and the feeds I follow. So it's a nice thing to where you have, when you have more control and you don't have an algorithm, it's so much nicer. You're not being fed crap. It's like, oh, we think that you like this. It's like, no, I don't like this. I want to see less of this. And it's like, algorithm, why are you not learning? But the Fediverse, especially with Owncast, I love just talking about Owncast and ad nauseum. But it's the things that I want to say is like, hey, there is a community growing initiative that I would love to see more and more people come in and visit, and interact. And it's just one of those things where, let's get the ball rolling, especially as we get into 2024. And I know, and Gabe knows, and Gabe, they know that it's not going to be competitive to Twitch. That's, again, like I said, they have what's the word? No ideas, or they don't thought of comparing to Twitch is so far from what Owncast stands for, really. And that's the reason why I like it. And I like PeerTube. I like Mastodon. I like the Blue Sky. I like these alternative platforms to, like Facebook or X Twitter. It's just, it's a breath of fresh air, really. And this is what I like to do, is talk about these alternative platforms. And as I start closing out here, is my Owncast server here on this on the indie basement is, if you scroll down, I have changed a couple things. This is going to be the server of choice. I did have two. I had this one and the Indie Creator Hub one. I'm going to be closing the Indie Creator Hub Owncast server, and everything is going to go through this. Yeah, there are way too many. I'm on some which are great in how they are designed and usability, but just can't get. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been getting some traction on like Blue Sky and on Mastodon here, but yeah, and with Owncast, I've actually gotten a lot of St. Clinton. You're a regular here on all pretty much most of my channels here, but I got a lot of people come through, random people that, depending on whatever I'm streaming in that day that they're interested in, they'll start actively talking or chatting, and I get some follows and some interaction. If I got that from Livespace, that'd be great. I don't get anything over there because this content is not really gaming. Especially, I'm also going through my Indie Creator Hub over there. YouTube, I get some traction every once in a while, but it's very hit and miss, I should say. Especially since I'm not posting as many shorts. Actually, I'm not posting any shorts, so my the views have been around like the 30 to 50 views per, was it 48 hours, that range. So it's leveled off a lot, but it still gets some decent views. But I'm mainly focusing on Owncast. It's just what I like. It gives me the ability to control my content that I want to post out there on my own site. But yeah, I'm closing out the Indie Creator Hub Owncast server. Everything is going to go over here on the Indie Basement. And I changed it. We're talking about indie gaming, independent creator stuff, content creation. It's all going to live right here. I'll also have a link just below the player, especially when I do my first 2 hour streams. It's going to be here as well, but I'm going to change that button that says this week's game. It's going to be that particular week's game. Like for since this past Sunday, it's Avery Attorney. So it's kind of nice. It's like, hey, this is what I talked about in the first 2 hours episode this past Sunday. I have the game link here. And then, because I had someone come in and I have on a scene, it says, because I stream to like Twitch and other places where I can do the chatbot stuff. But Owncast makes it so much easier. I don't have to do a chatbot. It's just like, yeah, just push the button and you get taken to right where you need to go. So I'm consolidating a lot of things, especially the Indie Creator Hub website itself. I'm leaving it open throughout the rest of this year. I'm slowly converting everything into thisindiecreator.com as like for blog postings. Our forum is there. Our event list channel, or our event schedule is there, or the calendar. And everything is going to be inside thisindiecreator.com. Like all my blog postings, all the game reviews, first 2 hour reviews are going to be there. And everything for live streams are going to go through Owncast, and we're going to be posting that out as a like the first link that you'll see. So yeah, I'll be still streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Livespace, and whenever SharePlay comes out. So it's going to be that I'll have the options for live streaming onto those other places, but my main focus is on Owncast, or Owncast server. So if you haven't checked out thisindiecreator.com, it's a like I said, it's a great place to come visit. It's where I have all my blog postings. We got our forums that come in and join up with the community, and also our calendar. I got tonight is the Owncast the Fediverse, that episode. And for next Sunday, this coming Sunday, is the next episode of the first 2 hours. We're going to be playing Bad North, the Jutun edition. So that's a little house cleaning at the end of this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I know St. Clinton comes back. They're a regular. They're a great person. If you don't know St. Clinton, go check them out. Blue Sky and Spoutable. That's where they usually reside. But definitely check things out on Mastodon. Also, I forgot to add is that everything on Mastodon is going through my twit.social @JoshB. That is my main account. That is going to be what I post everything out to. So I'm going to be closing out the feed.indiecreatorhub.com over there. Because I was just kind of like, I have way too many things going on. And it's kind of like, I just need to, consolidate, tighten up what I've been working on or working with. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. This episode will be available on audio podcast tomorrow by 10 o'clock in the morning. If I'm up early enough, but I'm definitely get this out there for you guys on whatever podcast player of choice that you want to use. I like Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is great, and yeah. But you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I believe Amazon's podcast, and also on YouTube if you want to watch the video. This actual episode on YouTube, we do have a podcast playlist on our channel at Indie Creator Hub. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you for coming out, and hopefully you guys have a good night. And until 2 weeks from now, we got 2 more episodes this year. And that's it. We're done for this year. And we'll come back for 2024. Don't worry. But keep updated. Go to thisindiecreator.com to find out what's coming up next week. So with that, I hope you see you next time. And later, taters.